I think digital content is really kind of that baseline that everyone needs to focus on. It really is kind of the foundational piece, and it doesn't have to be super hard. It doesn't have to be super expensive.
Guys, this is Sid here, CEO of Beverage Trade Network and USATT Trade Tasting. We are live from Chicago at the Midwest Conference Center at the 6th Annual USATT Trade Tasting. And I have Katie here, who leads the B2C commerce operations at Southern, I believe nationally.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about, one question that has been coming, which is how suppliers and brands, can connect and drive sales via their own, social medias or websites, right? So let's see if there are some hacks out there. So Katie, thanks for joining me here.
Great to see you.
I think first, why don't you give a little introduction about what exactly you do at Southern Wine and Spirits, and how can we can deep dive into that on brands connecting their own feeds of Instagram with helping retailers sell more or direct consumers as well.
Yes, definitely. So my team at Southern Glazer really supports from a commercial operations perspective all of the work that we do to help retailers sell more beverage alcohol to consumers online. So that's everything from data to making sure they've got products set up correctly to making sure the content for the product looks great on their websites.
Super. And this whole 3-tier system, how let's say I have a gin brand, right? Especially, I'll take 2 scenarios. One can be a US brand, a domestic distillery, and one can be in London. So give me an example of how can my Instagram 10,000 followers help a retailer in US with a actual sale?
Yep, no, it's a great question. And the 3-tier system in the US really does make it a little bit tricky for us here. There's nothing more, I think, frustrating for a consumer than seeing a great product on an Instagram feed and they want to purchase it, but there's no way to purchase it or they can't figure out how. So there's lots of third parties out there that suppliers can partner with to make sure that when a Instagram post comes up, that a consumer can then shop it at retailers where it's available. And they can partner with their distributors to really make sure that the list of retailers is accurate for the most recent data pull to make sure that they've received that product in the last, 3-4 weeks or so to make sure that it's in stock in store. And so one thing that we can do is we can really connect those pipes through companies like Channel Advisor or MicMac to then drive that traffic directly to a retailer consumer experience. So either to a local retailer, to the Drizzly website where they can see local retailers for that particular consumer, or to Instacart, or to even like a Total Wine or a Walmart. So it really depends upon how it's set up, but it's really exciting because it's finally,
can be done, first of all?
It definitely can be done.
So if I break this down, let's say I'm selecting Chicago, right? And I'm in London. I'm selecting Chicago as an advertise. I'm making a post. I want to show to Chicago people, and I have a buy now button in my account, right? In my distillery's account as a feed. Now that buy now, the link where it's going is where the magic has to happen, right? So now I'm assuming that link can go to Binny's, whatever zip code I'm participating in.
Correct.
But the question I have is, I'm not in Binny's. Southern doesn't have it registered in the state, so I have to do all that paperwork just for that one little try?
Yes, unfortunately, it's only going to be for states where the product is in distribution. Now, there are some nuances around there in terms of some markets where shipping or products can be shipped, or importers can make sure it's set up in a particular market. But yeah, it definitely works much more seamlessly if it's
there is
locally
this
available.
Whole consumer journey, and there is this whole paper trail journey, right?
Yes.
Which we have to follow the goods and all that.
Yep.
So break that down. Does goods have to be physically in Binny's if I use that thing? Does goods have to be in your warehouse also? And does goods have to be in, let's say, MSW Park Street or whatever we're using to clear the whole thing?
Yeah, typically from a consumer experience, you really want to lean into where the product is already at that retailer, right? Because then that's going to be the most seamless consumer experience, and they're going to be able to receive that product as quickly as possible.
So I think where I'm going with this would be more valuable for suppliers is actually see where your retail links can be available already in your current and help those retailers, in fact, where everything is already set up.
Exactly.
Because this other thing doesn't make sense, I mean, just for a few cases, right?
Yeah, exactly. So for instance, in Chicago, for example, you could really leverage your distribution at Binny's. You can drive a lot of traffic to the retailers that carry that product within Chicago, driving that consumer pull, and then obviously helping out, those retailers that have taken it in, which creates a great story for those retailers to then repurchase.
Is there any tool or any way, where all my Chicago retailers can automatically get diverted to depending on the user location?
Yep. So through Southern Glazers, we're actually have a partnership with Channel Advisor where we can provide that data directly to Channel Advisor for brands that are partnered with us. Now, if we don't have a direct partnership with your distributor, it can be a little bit clunkier, but as long as you have that list of stores, Channel Advisor or McMac can then help kind of connect those pipes in the background.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just one last one on a supplier's working with you. And comes up with how we can talk about I want a Kroger placement, so what do I do, and so on, and programming of the actual physical programming. But we've never talked about digital programming on how brands can help and support, and talk to you about that, right? So what are some programming deals you normally work with suppliers that can help with depletions?
Yeah, so I think it's important, especially when you think about like national or even regional accounts, that now we are in an age where, when you're selling in a physical program into the store, it really needs to have that digital component, right? It needs to be amplified by a digital component on that retailer's website. So, if you do have a particular program with particular assets, amazing case display, shelf talkers in store, right? You need those kind of digital equivalents online. You need the banner ads. You need to ask for the placements on the homepage, that kind of thing.
So even all that is part of a distributor now, right? Helping them with the merchandising the online store.
Exactly.
Wow, fantastic. Any closing remarks for brands, especially on how they can work with distributors to for the e-commerce side of the piece?
Yeah, I think digital content is really kind of that baseline that everyone needs to focus on. It really is kind of the foundational piece, and it doesn't have to be super hard. It doesn't have to be super expensive. Believe it or not, most brands really already have a lot of these digital assets. They just need to make sure they get into the right hands of the distributor and at the retailer to make sure they can be successful online.
Super. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.